Hello there, it's Josiah Savar from Singing Songs Multimedia. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to our series on music theory for the worship pianist. Today I wanted to talk about some special chords, and these chords are called secondary dominants. What secondary dominants do is they can add some really cool half-step motion between your chords, and overall just add some cool flavors to your chord progressions. What secondary dominants are doing is we're trying to borrow dominant to tonic resolutions from other keys. We talked about last week how dominant to tonic resolutions are the most powerful that we have in music, mainly because of that half-step movement between them. They just have a sense of finality. So if we want to add more dominant to tonic resolutions, we have to borrow them from other keys, because traditionally in a diatonic chord progression, we just have one dominant chord and one tonic chord. So to get more of that motion, we have to borrow it from other keys. Let me show you what I mean. We could have a progression where we're going from the 1 chord to the 2 chord. To 5, to 1. Right? That could be a cool progression. But if we want to add a little bit of movement between the 1 chord and the 2 chord, we can add a dominant resolution in between them. So what we want to do is we think about where we're going. We're going to D minor. Right? It doesn't matter where we're coming from, just where we're going. We're going to D minor, and we want a dominant resolution. So we think about the key of D minor, and we want to go up to the 5th note of that scale, which is A. And a dominant chord will always be major, and it'll also have the option of adding the minor 7th on top. So we want to add the A major chord. We could even add that minor 7th. That is the 5 of 2, the 5 chord in the key of D minor. And we can hear how it resolves to D minor. Right? It's that dominant to tonic resolution, but when we add it into our progression, it can sound really cool. So we'll go 1, 5 of 2, 2. Okay? Right? So not only does it have a really cool flavor to it, it also has this half-step motion between the C sharp and the D, right? Right? So that's our secondary dominant, and we would call that a 5 of 2, the 5 chord in the key of D minor, which is our 2 chord. Let's do a couple more. Let's say we want to get to our 4 chord, which in the key of C would be an F chord. Right? The dominant of F, the dominant chord in the key of F major, is C. Now we already have a C chord in the key of C, right? It's our tonic chord. To make this feel more dominant, we can add in that minor 7th that I referred to earlier. Because remember, dominant chords are always major, and they have the option of having that minor 7th on top. Okay? So to get from 1 to 4, we can add that 5 of 4, which would be a C7, right? Right? So that is how we add in the 5 of 4 without making it just sound like a 1 to 4 resolution, right? We add in that minor 7th, and it adds a little bit more of a dominant feel to it. Right? It has kind of that descending motion when that 7th resolves down. Let's do one more. Let's go to our 6 chord. This is probably the most common that you're going to hear is the 5 of 6. So again, in the key of C major, our 6 chord is A minor. If we think about the key of A minor, the dominant chord is E major, right? The 5th note of the A minor scale, A, B, C, D, E. It'll be an E major chord with the option of having that dominant 7th or that minor 7th on top of it. Okay, let's add this into a progression. We're going to go 1, 5, 5 of 6, 6. Right? This works out well because if we think about the voice leading things that we were talking about a couple weeks ago, the G and the E major chord share a note, that B. And that also has that half-step motion into the A minor chord, into that C, right? So it kind of all comes together, and it makes for this really cool sound with really smooth voice leading. So secondary dominants are a really cool way to spice up an otherwise boring chord progression, add in some half step motion, right? Add in a little bit of a cool flavor. But at the same time, I wouldn't overuse it. You can really easily overdo the secondary dominants. Don't use them all the time because it'll, like anything, if you overuse it, it'll get boring. I would do this if you want to spice up an ordinary chord progression every once in a while, maybe on a final chorus of a song. Maybe you're playing by yourself, or maybe you want the whole band to do it. Either way, just don't overdo it because you can definitely do that. I think we heard a lot of secondary dominance in the older Christian worship music. And right now, we don't hear it as much. So those flavors kind of jump out. Just don't overuse them because they definitely can be overused, right? Stick to the main solid chords of the song and use those secondary dominants to just spice it up every once in a while, maybe on a final chorus or something. Anyways, that is all I have for you today. I hope you found that helpful. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.